Hey everyone, this is Nancy Ridgeway, the artistic director of R5 Productions and the director of the second installment of the Playhouse series, The Professor's Ashes, where we continue to explore the theme of consequences. Over the past few months, R5 Productions solicited and received over 60 original works from playwrights all over the world. Jim, Rob, and I read all and selected the 4 that will be presented this month. Tonight's production, The Professor's Ashes, was written by J.J. Steinfeld. J.J. hails from the Prince Edward Island in Canada, where he is an accomplished fiction writer, poet, and playwright. He has published 22 books and over 60 of his one-act plays, as well as numerous full-length plays, and has been performed throughout Canada and the United States. A selected and new selection of Steinfeld's Prince Edward Island stories, entitled Acting on the Island, is forthcoming from Pottersfield Press in spring 2022. Our theme tonight is consequences. Consequences can be positive or negative. Everything we think and say and do has consequences for ourselves and for others. Like ripples on a pond, our actions spread out and affect others because everything is interconnected. And we need to remember that our actions are irreversible. Consequences are where our thoughts and actions meet reality. Please hang around after the show tonight to meet the playwright, cast, and crew for a short talk back. Thank you for your continued support of R5 Productions, and enjoy the show.
There's nothing wrong with the will, Irene.
Sid, I can't believe you're saying that. There's everything wrong with that spiteful will.
I took a great deal of care drawing it up. Walter wanted to be just exactly right.
Just exactly right? That will is insane.
Well, sit down, Irene.
I don't want to sit. I want to know why my husband included those last 2 provisions in his will.
Walter had his reasons.
What were they?
I don't know his motives. I was his lawyer, not his therapist. He had those 2 provisions all written out before he came to my office.
Weren't you curious, Sid?
Certainly I was. But Walter told me that future historians would understand.
Well, Walter is a past historian now.
Oh, don't be harsh.
It's Walter's idea of a joke. I never understood his sense of humor, if he ever had one.
I found Walter could be funny when he wanted to. So did Anna.
I didn't.
Sit, you'll feel better.
He can't do this to me, not after 27 years of living with him.
Irene, you were left virtually everything.
Not what I want most. Deserve.
Walter had a sense of playfulness.
Walter was not playful, Sid. He was an overly serious and friendless man.
Anna and I were his friends.
Oh, you two were the exceptions. Walter's will is pure malice.
Why do you need Walter's ashes anyway, Irene? You have the memories.
I am not in the mood for sentimental platitudes. Give that woman the memories. I have the right to my husband's ashes.
There's nothing I can do, Irene. She's legally entitled to them and to the manuscript.
Why in the devil's name did Walter stipulate she get the manuscript after I'm dead? After?
That's what Walter wanted.
Malice. Spite.
I can't accept those feelings were in Walter's heart.
Oh, you can bet your law practice that Walter had a spiteful intention. Maybe he doesn't want me to know what's in the manuscript to make me miserable, to drive me mad.
Maybe to spare you.
Spare me what?
I really don't know. Irene, please sit.
A wife is the only one who should have her husband's ashes. Furthermore, Sid, I want to get into that safe deposit box to see the manuscript.
It can't be done before your death.
I mean, who the hell is this Genevieve Cloak?
As far as I've been able to find out, she's a grad student at the university. She was a student of Walter's. Actually, he was her thesis advisor.
Oh, he never mentioned her name.
Walter had a lot of students.
Oh, he talked about his graduate students. Hated them. That's how he fell asleep, telling me how much his students interfered with his life. All he cared about was researching and writing his scholarly articles.
What about golf?
Oh, yes. How could I forget? He cared about his damn golf.
Walter left you his golf clubs.
Yeah, that was for spite also. You can have them, Sid.
You're going to get yourself ill if you don't sit down and calm yourself. You're affecting my blood pressure, Irene. There, that's better.
Make sure I get the ashes. Remember, Sid, you're my lawyer also. In case you haven't noticed, I'm alive.
The ashes and manuscript are for Genevieve Cloak. There are no grounds whatsoever to contest the will.
Find some grounds.
There aren't any.
Fix the will. You're the brilliant lawyer. I've heard Anna say it enough times.
I can't tamper with the will, Irene. Be reasonable.
Then I'll get Walter's ashes myself. A graduate student could use some extra money.
Now you're using your head instead of your emotions. Let me act as intermediary.
Oh, I want to see this Genevieve Cloak for myself. I hope Walter wasn't developing a sexual appetite in his old age.
I got her address from the history department.
So? Give it to me, Sid.
Unfortunately, Irene, she's living in Paris doing research for her doctorate.
Damn it.
I'll write her. No problem, Irene.
I will write her. I'm going to get those ashes no matter what I have to do.
Irene, your salad is going to get soggy if you don't eat it.
I was around Walter's history department all morning trying to find out about Genevieve Cloak. Everyone I talked to gave me a different story about her. One thing and one thing only seems to be undisputed. She's in Paris doing her doctoral thesis on Robespierre. Huh, cute. Isn't it, Anna?
I don't know what you mean, Irene.
That was Walter's specialty, Robespierre.
So what?
They probably lay in bed together discussing Robespierre.
You're letting your imagination get out of hand.
If this were happening to you and some sweet young law student was going to get Sid's ashes, how would you act?
Sid wouldn't allow himself to get cremated.
Do you want to hear the comforting, compassionate letter Ms. Genevieve Cloak sent to me?
The one you read to Sid over the phone?
Your brilliant husband is not helping.
He has to work within the law.
If it were to his benefit...
Sid's not going to do anything dishonest.
Enough perfume on this letter to kill a rat. You'd think a transatlantic trip would extinguish the stink.
That's a long letter.
Oh, you eat and I'll give you the succulent highlights. Dear Mrs. Redloom, I was both surprised to receive your letter and distressed by its tone. Surely you do not intentionally desire to sully the memory of your husband. I have already received a letter from Walter's lawyer notifying me that I will be receiving the remains once the will is probated. I appreciate your generous offer, but I wouldn't dream of parting with Walter's ashes for any price.
What did you offer her?
$500.
Ooh, Walter's ashes must mean the world to her.
Oh, she's doing this to hurt me.
She doesn't know you, Irene.
She knew Walter. Bite hard on a carrot and listen to this part. The manuscript, as you must know, is inaccessible to me or anyone else until you have passed away. I hope you live a long, satisfying life, and I do not see the manuscript for many years. Ugh, just taunting me.
You are reading too much into the letter.
There are daggers all through this letter. Sharp daggers.
Oh, nonsense, Irene.
Oh, how about this heartfelt outpouring of prose? It will help your digestion. Walter had been preparing me for his death before I left for Paris. He gave me specific instructions regarding what should be done with his ashes if he died before we saw each other again. To a graduate student, not his wife, not the woman who shared his bed for 27 years.
Walter could be unpredictable.
He was the most predictable man on earth. You know how much Walter loved Paris and desired his ashes to be near the sites associated with the French Revolution. I am certain you do not wish anything less than complete adherence to your husband's final wishes. Oh, can't you see what she's doing?
She's not doing anything, Irene. The woman answered your letter promptly and civilly.
Oh, the ending is delightful. Walter was very dear to both of us. Sincerely, Genevieve Cloak.
There is nothing sinister in having affection for a professor you worked with.
This letter is sinister. More than sinister.
Well, what are you going to do?
Write another letter. Offer the loathsome witch of a graduate student more money.
There's no use being abusive toward this woman.
For heaven's sake, Anna, the woman was sleeping with my husband. I have the right to be abusive. What burns me up, what really kills me, is I didn't know she existed.
Sid didn't tell me that Walter was interested in any of his students.
It's not something you share with a wife.
Oh, Sid likes talking about who's having affairs with whom. There's a gossipy side to my starchy little Sid.
Your starchy little Sid could simplify everything by giving me the ashes. It's going to cost me money, but I'll get what's left of Walter from Genevieve, the graduate student.
Be composed and sweet. Get the ashes and then vent your anger if you still need to. Sugar will get the ashes.
Last few nights, I've dreamed about Genevieve Cloak. I don't even want to tell you what kind of dreams. But I am composed enough to write again. A sweet letter.
Show Sid what you write first.
I'm going to offer her $1,000.
1,000?
There's no way a graduate student living in Paris is going to turn down $1,000 for a handful of ashes.
What if she does?
Then I'll offer her $1,500. I'll sell a couple of Walter's rare books and buy the ashes with the money.
Get interested in something else besides those ashes before you give yourself a mental breakdown.
Living with Walter was mental breakdown enough.
I didn't know you were so unhappy with Walter.
Now you know.
Well, I have no idea what to say.
Anna, I'm 52 and ready to start a new life. I'm not going to fall apart. I don't need this aggravation with the ashes.
What are you going to do with the ashes if you get them?
Flush them down the toilet, Anna. Flush them right down the toilet. Be composed and sweet, and you'll get the ashes with sugar. I'm glad there wasn't a fee for your advice, Anna.
What did she write to you, Irene?
Venom.
Not for you to worry, Irene. I'm going to write Genevieve Cloak another letter after we have supper.
You sent the ashes, Sid.
I had to.
You could have sent her some fireplace ashes.
The undertaker and funeral home were involved. There would have had to have been collusion.
Our friendship isn't as strong as I thought it was.
Oh, that's hardly fair, Irene.
Irene, darling, there isn't anything I wouldn't do for you.
Why couldn't you convince your devoted husband to get me the ashes?
Let's forget about the ashes and this woman until after we eat. I cook supper especially for you and Anna.
I can't forget.
We're having Sid's scrumptious, sublime chicken tetrazzini.
With the most criminally delicious sauce you've ever tasted, Irene.
Today's letter has spoiled my appetite.
Oh, not for my chicken tetrazzini.
Let Sid read the letter.
Oh, you're my high-priced, brilliant lawyer. Have a few laughs on me.
If you could remain a little more objective.
I don't want to remain objective, Anna. Not when that woman is out to destroy my mind. Letter number 2 confirms it.
Stop your exaggerating, Irene.
This letter.
What is it, Sid?
There is an oddness about the woman.
She wants to punish me for something, and she's the one who slept with my husband.
Sure, the nicest handwriting I've ever seen.
Oh, inhale the perfume that's on that damn letter deeply, Sid. It'll destroy any congestion you have.
What does she write, Sid?
I am pleased that you have mollified your anger, but there is still an undercurrent of hostility to your words.
Ugh, she's more pedantic than Walter was.
Let Sid read, Irene.
I realize that grief must be affecting your senses, and therefore I will not censor a grieving widow. The 2 months since Walter's death have not been easy for me either.
She doesn't sound out of line.
Oh, she sounds calculating and malicious, Anna.
According to Walter's lawyer, the ashes have been mailed, and I am eagerly awaiting their arrival. As I wrote in my previous letter, it would be impossible for me to sell Walter's ashes to you, even for your generous offer. How much did you offer this time, Irene?
She offered $1,000.
My goodness. I wouldn't think Genevieve Cloak would turn that down.
She did, Sid. I'll offer her more.
Oh, how will you go, Irene?
I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000. How much do you think Walter's book collection is worth?
Oh, we're looking at 75,000 minimum. That's allowing for a weak market in rare books.
Good. Then I'll offer her 5,000. That's not too many rare books.
You're not thinking clearly, Irene. Those books were Walter's treasures.
The books belong to Irene now, Anna.
$5,000 to flush down the toilet?
Flush what down the toilet?
Walter's ashes.
Oh, that's not what you planned to do, Irene.
That is the only thing that will give me peace.
Ugh.
Then Walter will be buried once and for all.
You're overreacting, Irene.
Oh, it's the next part, Anna.
Damn woman.
What did she write, Sid?
I can send you, if you so desire, a tape recording of your husband and me. Over the years, as a sort of historical record, Walter and I often recorded our intimate moments together.
A historical record. Did you hear?
What does she mean by intimate moments?
Anna, you've dyed your hair too many times to play naive.
I didn't want to assume the worst, Irene.
Intimate moments means intimate moments. Like in soap operas and Harlequin romances, you know.
She also writes, this is the end of the letter, that Walter was indeed a remarkable and loving man.
Sincerely, Genevieve Cloak. Do you understand now, Anna?
Oh, there is a hurtful element there, all right.
I couldn't believe I could get angrier, but this second letter. I nearly bought a plane ticket to Paris to get Walter's ashes from Sincerely Genevieve Cloak myself.
Rip the letter up and block the woman out of your mind, Irene. I mean, she's going to keep irritating you if you allow her.
Anna's right.
My concerned friends are in agreement. How reassuring.
What else can you do? Paris is an awfully long way from here.
She'll be coming back to the university eventually. She can't present and defend her thesis from Paris.
I wrote and told her to send a tape.
You didn't.
Oh, no, that wasn't wise, Irene.
I maintained total equanimity in the letter. Walter was a big one for being dispassionate and not revealing one's emotions to anyone, particularly not to an adversary.
I can't see any good coming from getting a tape.
I'm going to beat Genevieve Cloak at her own game.
If you get a tape, Irene, call me immediately. There might be some blackmail coming up.
There's nothing in the two letters about asking for money. She turned down money.
I think our faraway grad student is shrewd. She's setting Irene up for blackmail. No wonder she didn't take the 1,000. She probably knows that Walter left Irene a great deal. He must have told her about his rare book collection.
In bed, during private tutorials.
You can't be certain, Irene.
More certain than I am about anything.
Sid, can you get the ashes back if the woman attempts to blackmail Irene?
One step at a time. Nothing incriminating yet. Nothing we could take to court. Let Genevieve Cloak make her mistake.
You're going to get the ashes, Irene. I'm absolutely positive about that. And Sid will help you get them legally.
Legality is not a major concern of mine.
We should have supper now. Sid's a more brilliant cook than he is a brilliant lawyer.
Oh, how about it, Irene? Your stomach settled?
I'll be fine when I flush Walter's ashes down the toilet.
And Genevieve Cloak is in prison.
She has to be a blackmailer first. What happened, Irene? Please sit down.
I bought a plane ticket to Paris. I'm leaving next week.
You don't look well enough to go anywhere.
Listen to this tape at your leisure, Sid.
Is she blackmailing you?
If you and Anna need some stimulation to fire up your passions.
Come home with me now and we'll listen to the tape.
Oh, I've heard it 11 times. It was my nighttime entertainment.
Did you get any sleep last night?
I'll sleep when I have Walter's ashes.
Did Genevieve Cloak write you anything with the tape?
She has the ashes.
Anything else?
My favorite Genevieve Cloak letter to date. The woman has a definite style.
Let me see the letter she wrote.
Oh, I'll read it to you, Sid. Don't you enjoy when I read?
Please sit down and read.
Oh, a great performance needs movement, gestures. Receiving Walter's ashes was the most profound emotional experience of my life. You will be pleased to know that I have placed the ashes in a lovely 18th century urn that is rumored to have belonged to Empress Josephine. The original shipping container did not do justice to Walter's memory.
The funeral home took care of the packaging and shipping.
Oh, here the precious angel shines. Enclosed, you will find a tape recording of Walter and me. He always felt guilty that he was betraying you, but he was a man of strong passions. In a strange way, Walter is kept alive through the 200 tape recordings I possess.
What? 200? That can't be true. Not 200.
I'm not going to worry about numbers, Sid. You can't believe her kind-heartedness in the last paragraph. In deference to your age and relationship to dear Walter, I agonized for days over which tape recording to forward and decided on this early one from 10 years ago. I was 18 then, and Walter had not yet taught me all the secrets of lovemaking. Try to believe that I mean you no injury. Walter told me to always seek the truth and trust to the generosity of the human spirit. Sincerely, Genevieve Cloak.
She could be making all this up.
Listen to the tape, Sid.
Is Walter's voice on it?
Our distinguished and esteemed French Revolution scholar with an international reputation was a bloody satyr.
Oh, I wish you didn't have to go through this. I really am sorry.
Nothing to be sorry about, Sid. The ashes will do. The ashes and a brief tete-a-tete with Genevieve Cloak, paramour extraordinaire.
I don't think it's prudent for you to go to Paris, Irene.
I've already paid for the plane ticket. That cost me 4 rare books. 7 more for expenses. I'm going to enjoy myself in Paris once I get the ashes.
You're going to let Genevieve Cloak know you're coming?
I'm way ahead of you. I phoned.
You talked to her?
I talked to the man she lives with. I told him to tell Ms. Cloak that I was going to be in Paris for a short visit and wanted to behold Walter's ashes. Oh, with her approval, of course. Sid, I was careful not to say anything that might frighten her.
I can't see any sense in what you're planning, Irene.
It's the only way I can get Walter's ashes back to New York, scene of his passionate exploits.
If she resists?
I may not be able to get into the safe deposit box, Sid, but I sure as hell can get hold of the ashes.
That's theft, Irene.
You're a good lawyer, Sid. Get me a light sentence in the Bastille.
Don't go to Paris. Not now, at least. Wait a month or 2.
I've waited almost 4 months already. Now is the ideal time to go.
You're not going to hurt that woman. Physically, I mean.
Oh, don't be absurd, Sid. I'm simply going to get Walter's ashes, see the sights of Paris, perhaps have an affair or 2 in Walter's honor, a healthy mixture of business and pleasure.
She's not merely going to hand the ashes to you, Irene.
I'll have the ashes in my hands before Genevieve Cloak knows what happened. I can be smarter and quicker than any sexy graduate student.
Don't go, Irene. You won't be able to keep control when you meet her.
I'll keep the utmost control.
Wait a month. That's all. Maybe Anna could go with you.
Enjoy listening to the tape, my friend and lawyer. Your golfing partner was quite the heavy-breathing sexual athlete. I bet you didn't know that Walter liked to whisper dirty words in English and in French.
Bonjour. Welcome to Paris, Mrs. Rudloom. Come in. Genevieve should be back from the archives within the hour.
Oh, you don't mind if I wait here for her?
My pleasure to have your company. Let me take your coat and your suitcase.
You're kind. I came directly from the airport. I can see my hotel room later.
I hope it's in a more desirable part of the city than this place.
Oh, I like this area.
Oh, you've been to Paris before.
With my husband on several of his research trips. The last time was years ago, though.
I offer you my deepest condolences. To lose a loved one.
I've had 4 months to cope with the loss.
A drink. Would you like a drink?
Yes, I think that would relax me.
Regrettably, our selection is somewhat limited. Genevieve has been at the booze lately, an incredible binge since I told her you were coming to Paris. But there is some so-so brandy left.
Brandy was Walter's favorite drink.
If you'd rather not,
Oh,
I
I
can
don't believe in allowing ghosts to conduct their hauntings.
make yourself at home.
Oh. 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 Uh, if my nosiness bothers you, please tell me. I have such curiosity about the way people live.
Looking for something specific?
You are perceptive.
I will take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment. And I am looking for a specific item.
I would like to be of assistance in your search.
The urn.
Hmm.
The 18th century urn Genevieve wrote me about.
The urn is with Genevieve. She won't let it out of her sight.
I am anxious to see the urn. It belonged to Napoleon's first wife, I understand.
So Genevieve's been telling everyone.
Oh, thank you. Oh, lovely large glasses.
To a happy visit, Mrs. Rudloom.
Oh, I'd be more comfortable if you called me Irene.
To a wonderful, exciting, memorable visit, Irene.
It will be. This brandy is nectar.
On the morbid side, if you ask me.
What is?
Carrying an urn with ashes everywhere. We went to a play last night, and the urn was on Genevieve's lap the entire time, like a lap dog.
You two aren't married, are you?
Oh, what a thought. No, roommates strictly. Roommates. I have lived with Genevieve for half a year out of economic necessity.
Over the phone, I thought you might be Parisian the way you spoke, but you have a Brooklyn accent in person.
Conceived and raised in Brooklyn. Came here for a 3-week therapeutic excursion to recover from an ended love affair and couldn't bear to leave.
Oh, did you know Genevieve in New York?
I met her in Paris in a most unspeakable low-life bar. She was drunk on brandy that night, showing all the patrons what beautiful legs she has. Genevieve loves to scandalize.
Oh, you don't sound too fond of your roommate.
Jenny is decadent, and I abhor decadence. She has turned decadence into a way of life.
Probably what attracted my husband.
Come into the bedroom and I'll show you. First, let me pour you another brandy. You'll need more liquid reinforcement to hear about Jenny and her proclivities.
I have a picture in my mind of your roommate, and I'm afraid it isn't a pleasant one.
Here you are. I love drinking Genevieve's brandy. I'm not a fast drinker like Genevieve, but I can nurse a drink for hours.
Oh, you're very kind.
I suspect Genevieve is nothing like you'd imagined.
From our correspondence, she seems a cruel woman.
Cruel's not the right word. Decadent. Decadent is a much more apt description. Genevieve is decadent without restraint.
I would never want to be regarded as decadent without restraint.
Nor I. This way, follow me. You're not afraid to enter a bedroom with a man who you've only recently made the acquaintance of, are you?
Oh, I am more worldly than that, believe me. Lead the way.
Should I carry you over the threshold into Genevieve's bedroom?
Oh my, aren't you the bold young man?
A little spontaneity adds spice to life.
That it does.
I don't know if I should put you down.
Oh, it's very perfumed in here.
Genevieve pours it on.
Oh, it's so strong. Oh,
Genevieve's unmistakable scent. She can't stand natural odors, incessantly drenching things in perfume.
I've never smelled this much perfume.
Perfume is only the beginning.
Ooh, I thought you would never put me down.
The perfume is also affecting me, saps my strength.
Oh, this room.
Look around you. Nylons, feathery boas, shoes for every decadent mood. Only silk stockings for Jenny. silk dresses. She lives in this cheap apartment, but shops at the most exclusive stores. Who knows where she gets the money?
Oh, do you find it warm in here?
I'm a bit chilled, to be honest.
Oh, it must be the long flight. I need to rest.
The bed is comfortable. Here, let me move the nylons and boas.
Oh, I can't believe how dizzy I feel. This perfume.
I tell her to use less, but Genevieve won't listen to anyone.
Could you open a window, please?
It's a stench. The decadence.
I can't stand up any longer.
Put your head on the pillow. The pillowcase is silk. There. Let me help you get comfortable.
I don't know what's coming over me.
These nylons and shoes and fancy silk dresses are enough to sicken anyone.
Water. Some water.
Wouldn't you rather have some brandy?
Water.
I'm truly sorry, Irene, but there's no need for water.
What? What?
Rest.
Could you help me?
It's a bit too late to help.
Not late.
I'm sure it's of no consolation to you, Irene, but now I will be able to attend to New York in the history department.
Where is Genevieve Cloak? Where is she?
Do not be obtuse, Irene. The end is supposed to bring clarity. I was your husband's lover.
You're a man. A man.
Infrequently as possible. Do you not adore silk?
Where is Genevieve Cloak?
I do pray the truth will make you strong, my dear woman.
Truth.
For the last years of his life, Walter was obsessed with killing you, but he was too gentle to lift a finger against you.
I can't see anything. I can't see.
Walter suffered silently.
Walter was not a homosexual.
No point in discussing labels and sexual preferences at such a solemn moment. You should have your husband's ashes now, Irene. I keep them under the bed, close to where Walter would have liked them to be. I regret that the container is so plain, but I didn't have much of my fellowship money left. Time for me to get dressed. A Paris evening awaits me.
What is the manuscript?
My PhD thesis, all written for me. A gift from Walter. The services rendered.
No.
You are a handsome woman, Irene. I deeply regret that you have to die for Genevieve's decadence. But PhDs do not come cheaply these days.
Hey, everybody. You can turn your videos on. Well, thank you to everyone who listened in to our show tonight. I very much appreciate the support. Um, and we're going to start a short, talk back. So if anybody has any questions, you can just post that in the in the chat room. We had a little extra visitor into our chat room that we had to try to expunge out. Anyway,
I'm dying to know what the story is now.
Same. Yeah, that sounds amazing.
so we just had, somebody come in, and, was, telling us to go to a porn site. It's in the, so it's in
Anyone in
the,
particular?
yeah, actually it did. So
Only
I'm,
us. Only us.
I'm frantically, removing them, reporting them, and putting them in timeout and all that kind of stuff while you guys are performing. It was hilarious.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, all right. So, a couple of questions here, and JJ, you're with us. If you want to turn your video on, because it's nice to have our playwright with us. And I'm just going to ask everyone to introduce themselves very quickly and tell us, the what part you're playing. And I'm going to start with Larry. So if you go ahead.
I played Sid. My name is Larry Kravitz.
Ridgeway, the director. Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie Rogers. I was Irene. Tons of fun.
Jillian.
I am Jillian Swan, and I played Anna.
Jim.
Jim McIntosh. I'm the technical director here at R5 and also the composer of the music.
I am Keith Malachewski, and I was Man.
JJ, I don't know if you can hear us, but if you want to turn on your video, we would love to have a chat with you. Excuse me. While we're waiting for him to join us. So this is such a fun little one act that JJ submitted, and I like the I kind of like the twist at the end, which I thought that's one of the reasons that we liked it, but to what we found out in speaking with JJ is that he wrote this quite some time ago. He wrote it back in the late 80s. And that's why we decided to set it in the 1980s, because it's before email and cell phones and those kinds of things. We thought it was best, appropriate in that time frame. Jim, do we have any questions?
We do. We have one from Rob, actually, who says, was it easy for the actors to find the humor in this dark thriller?
Larry, what do you think?
JJ has given us an awful lot to work with. The macabre is kind of underlying, really, and it doesn't really show up until the very end. But along the way, we all have cute little passages that made us all kind of chuckle as we were reading it to each other.
Right. Stephanie, what about you?
Yes, I think anytime there's a woman scorned, it's really just filled with all kinds of fun, levels. And I thought the unique thing about this is, she's scorned and her husband's dead. So how do you get your revenge, right?
Right.
That must be really frustrating. So, I thought that was a cool dynamic. And, she wants these ashes just to flush them down the toilet, which
right.
That's kind of her crazy revenge. So there's humor, there's all kinds of levels of humor there, which I and then of course, like Jillian, that whole dynamic of the friend who's like, gee, what's the big deal? It's only, like
eat your salad. It's getting salty.
Yeah, just have your salad. Who cares? He was having an affair, big deal. Yeah.
What do they mean by intimate?
Yeah, intimate moments.
Yeah. Intimate moments. Yeah, that's so funny.
Exactly.
So Keith, you got to play the infamous Genevieve Cloak, and then of course, Genevieve Cloak with the masculine, Brooklyn accent, which I think you did such a great job at. And tell us how you found, the humor.
Well, I think it's for Man / Genevieve, it's like almost within the situation, like he's having fun with it. He's like, you have no idea what you're walking into here. And it's like this cat and mouse type thing that he kind of has. I think the character itself just finds himself to be somewhat hilarious in some of the things that he does. So for me, it was just like being involved as that character and just knowing
Right.
that he's like, cool, like this is an illusion. She has no idea.
Right.
Getting his kicks that way.
Right. Right. I can imagine though, all this while before Irene gets to Paris, all this time, he's pretending to be this woman, and she has no idea, and it's just so cool and so interesting. Jillian, you did such a great job, and I love the fact that you put that little that kind of not necessarily ditzy, but a little bit, I'm married to a
Thank you.
lawyer. We're gonna have salad. How's everything going? Oh.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
What else can we talk about? I apologize for my lack of energy here, but I have COVID and I am super tired and very kind of lethargic.
Oh my gosh,
So-
you're a trooper.
I think JJ's line is unmuted. His camera's not on. So JJ, can you hear us? Or can you respond and we can see if we can hear you?
Yeah, it doesn't look. Yeah, it looks like we should be able to hear you. Oh,
Hey, well, you are unmuted now. You muted, then you unmuted. I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess there's something going on with his computer.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about consequences. And I think that it's, this play ties in really great with the whole theme of the Playhouse, the Playhouse series that, all of your actions have, repercussions. So Irene and Walter had this, pretty, lousy marriage. And then neither, the consequences are, numerous things happened here, right? Her husband was like, I'm not going to, I'm going to give the ashes to this other person. And she's like, he was not, a good husband to me, and I'm going to get those ashes and flush them down the toilet. So, Jillian, what do you think about the consequences?
I think the twist at the end really surprised me. I think it's a shame that Irene's greed in trying to retrieve the ashes ends up being her demise. Because she ends up, by Genevieve at the end. So I thought that was a shame. I
Well,
thought it was interesting that there was the trade-off for the thesis.
Yeah.
So that was another.
But what I liked about this was, if you think about it, her lawyer kept telling her, don't do anything, stay here, don't do anything. And it was because of her actions that this ended up this way. And it's almost Walter knowing what she's like. If we do this,
Pushing her, that this one thing would make her go. And
yeah.
yeah.
And so it was her actions that caused this trigger down there, because if she had not done it, it would have fallen apart.
I would have done the same thing though. I mean, if somebody did that to me, like, oh no, it's on. Like, no, they're coming home.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Just,
Good to know, Jillian.
Joe would never let himself be cremated.
I did get a note from JJ. His computer overheated. So he is, I don't know if he's going to be able to rejoin or not, but, all right. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to chat about for a minute or two?
I will say that Rob wrote, some people don't like
there it is.
some people don't like unresolved endings. And while the play does have a specific ending, it leaves us asking, what happens next? Did the cast talk about this and their theories on that?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great
I think
question.
the man comes back with the thesis and presents it as his own. And then the two people that were the obstacles that knew now of the deception are gone.
I think that he goes and gets his PhD, and then he rides off into the sunset and becomes Genevieve and gets to have a great old time in Paris. That's how I
Does Sid and Anna suspect anything? Do you think they would suspect something? The woman travels over there. Sid says, don't do anything physical to her. And all of a sudden, this woman ends up mysteriously dying.
Right.
And what I also thought was great, and Nancy brought this. Well, actually, we talked about this. How did she die? What killed her?
The brandy. I was
Definitely
like the
brandy.
perfume smell, and everybody's like, no, the brandy.
Yeah, I think it's it's
Brandy,
some kind
definitely.
of
He
poison.
kept pushing the brandy on her. Do you want another glass?
Yeah,
Right. And you were nursing yours. I don't even think you necessarily
you
put
probably
it to your
didn't.
lips.
Yeah.
Man,
It was,
man,
it was probably like one of those fake sips.
you have, by the way, my favorite line in the entire play, Keith.
Ah,
Is
For services rendered.
services rendered.
Love that line.
It is a wonderful line. I like it because you can just drop it at the end there to kind of
Yeah.
just
And
show
particularly the way you delivered it. It was
Yeah.
really neat.
appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you.
All right, Nancy, there are no other questions or comments.
Okay. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna stop the live feed, and I want to thank everybody who listened in tonight. We very much always enjoy having everyone with us, and come back and join us next Monday night for Running from Heaven. We'll see you then. Take care now.